Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Baby Mothers podcast, and I am your host Shells. Thank you as always for joining us. So this week we've got another episode, another guest, and another mother's experience. So please join me in welcoming our special guest Chelsea.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So you're willing to come on the show and talk a bit about your parenting experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's try and delve into it a little bit. How many children do you have?
So I've got one. I've got a little boy and he's 2.
He's 2. Okay,
he's 2 now.
it's very small. And what would you say your co-parenting relationship is like with the father?
There is none. So, okay, where do I even start with this? So, in regards to my baby dad, we was never together. We was never in a relationship.
Oh, right, okay. So let's talk about that then. How did that pregnancy come about?
So we was getting to know each other. I came out of a 2-year relationship. So after I'd left that relationship, I went through like a couple months just doing my own thing. Mm-hmm. Then I was like, do you know what, like I want to kind of get back in and settle in, Met this guy, tried to get to know him. During the process, red flags came up, found out that he had 4 other kids with 3 other baby mums.
Oh, right, okay. 4 other kids?
4 other kids.
So your child is his 5th child?
6th.
His 6th child?
He had another one after my child, so...
Right, okay. Okay, so he's got a lot of kids. All right, okay. Yeah. So how did you react when you found out he had 4 kids?
Do you know what? Because obviously, so at the time I was 19, so I was pregnant with Kanan at 19.
Okay,
and
that's really young.
Now. It is. Okay. It is very young. And I'm 22 now.
Okay.
When I met him, he was 28.
Okay, so he was a bit older than you.
So he was a bit older. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of expected. Mm-hmm. Probably not so many with so many baby mums. Yeah. But it was definitely expected.
And did he talk about that situation? Like, how did he explain that his parenting to his 4th kid? Like, did he see the kids?
I assumed he did, because the way he kind of came out with it was like, I've got 3 baby mums, I've got 4 kids and whatever, but I don't think we had enough time to get to know each other.
I get you. In the early days, it's not really your business, I guess.
So I just didn't ask. It wasn't, it's not like, have you got a relationship with your kid,
Okay.
But, so obviously he told me he had the 4 kids, 3 baby mums. I was like, okay, cool. I know that information. Also, as well, he was working, so he was always busy. Anytime I called him, he was always busy. Okay. But he would always FaceTime me at work. So I just got to a point, like, we'd go out, like, probably 2, 3 times. We sat down, we've gone out. Obviously, those 3 times ended up, having sex and whatever. But I just got to a point where I was just like, this isn't going to work. Like, it's not what I want. I came out of a 2-year relationship. I knew what I wanted. I knew what it was, what I, liked in that relationship. So I ended up just saying to him, like, it's not going to work. But we already had sex. Like, we had sex 3 times, whatever. And I called it off a week later. Bearing in mind, when I did call it off, he's like, oh, like, why did I do, like, I'm working and busy. Like, he wasn't fond of it. But I was like, it is what it is. And then a week later, found out I was pregnant.
Okay. How did you feel when you found out?
I was happy. I didn't really think as far as to, when I told him, what his reaction would be or anything like that. I kind of just... Why
do you think you were personally happy about it?
I was at a rocky part in my life. So, like, my stability just wasn't there. I was literally at that point getting to stability. So, I've been, a runaway kid. Like, I went missing for a year and this, that and the other. And, I've been, like, in and out of care, from hostel to hostel. So, for me, it was like, okay, now I've got a kid. Like, I can actually get on with my life. I can be a different person. I'm going to have to be a woman. Do you get what I mean?
So you thought that would maybe be a bit of a life-changing
experience, 100%.
For you, yeah. Okay. All right. And then, so was you worried about telling him? Like, how did you expect him to react? Considering you weren't together and you'd only slept together a few times, how did you expect him to react?
He reacted how I expected him to react, to be fair.
Okay, and what was that reaction?
It was a positive reaction. Okay. So I'd called him. I remember I was at my mum's and I found out I was pregnant. And I called him up and I was like, look, like, I want something to tell you I'm pregnant. And he was like, oh, like, he was happy. He was like, oh, now we can work on us and, work on our relationship. And I was like, no. I was just like...
Is that what you said?
Yeah, I was like, no.
Okay. So you'd made the decision from the beginning that you're going to have the baby but you don't want to be in a relationship with him.
Of course, you know, it was when I sat down and I was like, oh look, you know, when he was like, oh, now we can work on us, and I was like, no, like what I still said still stands. So because obviously I was getting to know him, and you know, there's things that I was saying that I just didn't like. You know, I'm not gonna now, because I've got a kid, force myself to be in a relationship with you. But if there's certain things that you're showing me, because naturally with anybody, if you've got a relationship with your kid, you're going to be around your baby mum. You're going to have a relationship with your baby mum. So if things did develop, then we would have been in a relationship.
Okay.
I would have been prone to that. But at that precise moment of time...
And when you said this to him, how did he take that?
I thought we was on an understanding. I think, he was just like, okay, like I understand where you're coming from. I thought he understood.
So you were both moving forward with the situation. With, we're having this baby, you're both positive about it. Yeah. But you're not going to be in a relationship. Yeah,
but I said to him, so my exact words were like, no, like I don't want to be in a relationship. What I said still stands, but I expect you to still be there for your kid. Yeah. And how we ended that conversation, I believed we was on a mutual understanding. He's like, yeah, look, I get where you're coming from, and like I'll be there. Okay. You know?
And did you have a realistic expectation that this could go well? That you in the sense of that you can have a baby with someone and not be in a relationship, and it could.
I don't think you ever think otherwise. Like you would never think negative of it. You'd always think positive, especially in a situation like that. You've just found out you're pregnant. You know, it's a life-changing experience. You wouldn't want to sit down and think, is my baby dad going to be there? He's probably not going to be there. And just random, had he shown you anything in the time that you were seeing, in the sense to make you think like that he was, you know, a bad person? Like, no, not a bad person.
Angry, violent.
No.
Like,
do you know what?
It just wasn't working out.
Do you know what? It's funny you say that, because this is why I didn't expect him not to be there, because when, like, even with my past relationships, or even when I was younger, doing my own thing, the sort of guys that I was around weren't good guys. You know, they were from the roads, they did whatever. But this guy has never been in trouble with the police. Don't smoke no weed. Just like, he's a working guy, Monday to Friday. I wouldn't have expected.
So you just didn't want to personally be in a relationship with him. Yeah. Mention like because he was busy, so you know, just wasn't giving you that attention and kind of stuff. All right, okay. So then you move forward with the pregnancy. Yeah. Was it good for a certain amount of time? Like after that?
So it started straight away that the absence came. So obviously I had my 3-month scan. So from me finding out I was pregnant up until 3 months, you know, there was no communication. Okay. There was communication in the sense of phone calls, but we didn't see each other or anything like that.
And did you think that was fair? Considering you're not if you're not being in a relationship, why would you be meeting up, I guess?
It was, yeah. And I remember later on in the pregnancy, I did say that to him, because he was like, oh, look, I want to come round. And I was like, what do you want to do? Rub my pregnant belly? Like, you know? Yeah. But it was after things had developed. So obviously, my 3-month scan, I sent him a picture of the letter with the date, the time, and the place.
Not to come to the scan, so you invited him along to the scan. Yeah. Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So he's from Wood Green. At that time, I was Canberra, so Denmark Hill would have been a place he would have had to have come for the scan. When I told him, he was like, yeah, I'll be there, whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. Went for my scan. Didn't turn up. Okay. I was like, okay, cool. When I messaged him a picture of the scan, and he was like, oh, sorry, had a lot of shit on my plate. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, I didn't even reply back to it. I was like, I'm not even rising to this right now. My 6-month scan did the same thing. I communicate, you know, so I sat down, took a picture of the letter, sent it to him, said, look, this is the time, the date, the place. He was like, yeah, I'll be there, I need to book the time off work, whatever. Came to my 6-month scan, didn't turn up. So I'm like, what is this guy playing?
I was saying, what's going on in your head when he's not coming?
He's not going to be there. I already prepared myself for the fact that now, don't want to say we're at war, but we're at war. Like, because I know you're not going to come. I know you're not going to be there. If you can show me this throughout my pregnancy, fair enough, we're not together, but you're my child's dad. I expect you, even if we're not together, to still be there during those times, the scans, the birth of my child, our child.
Because I guess it's not like you're asking him to come and bring you like ice cream, you know, like cravings, you know, like exactly, you said, like rub your back, but the scans, I guess, is kind of like minimal, and you know that's not even for you, that's for the baby. Like most dads do want to go. All right, so he's shown you on the 6-month scan that he's not coming, so jump ahead a little bit then, because you just mentioned there the birth. Was he at the birth of your child?
No, he wasn't. It was a tricky one actually, because I was actually induced, so I had my child a little bit earlier. So much was going on. He didn't even cross my mind, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh really? So you didn't get a chance to tell him?
No. I got a chance to tell him after you know. But I didn't, before that, it literally just didn't cross my mind. Only because, you know, he hadn't been there for the 3-month scan, hadn't been there for the 6-month scan. It kind of just went over my head. Right now I've got to focus on me, I've got to focus on my child's going to be here any minute. You know, so how did he react to, I guess, what did you call him and say, like, I have a baby, you have a son now? Like, how did he react to that? Was he shocked? Was he surprised? So I was in the hospital. My mum was there, my brother was there. My brother came in and he took a picture of me and me holding Kaylin. So he, when he sent me the picture, I sent it over to my baby dad. And he was like, "Who's this?" Like, you could clearly see that me in the picture with my face in a hospital, with a baby, a newborn baby in my hand. You know, you see from that moment.
When you say you was induced, how early was you induced?
I think it was 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay, earlier, so it's not. It's not a big leap of the imagination to work out that is your baby, but I guess maybe he didn't expect you to go into labour yet, and he's a bit surprised, and he asks whose it is. And so you said it was it's the baby. And
no, I didn't reply back to him.
You didn't reply back?
No, when he sat down and said, "Who's this?" I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not doing the drama right now. Like, I'm not doing it.
And was that the end of the communication, or did he continue to ring, ask?
No, to be fair, he did. So obviously I would have had Kaylin. By the time he was probably about 2 to 3 months, bear in mind I was living in a shared accommodation. So the kitchen and the bathroom had to be shared. I just had a one room. And, you know, I was getting to a point where now I actually got offered my place. And I called him up. Bearing in mind, during that 3-month mark, he would call my phone and be like, "Are you guys okay?"
Okay, yeah. So let's just jump. Let's focus on that a little bit. So, in the hospital, you send him a picture of the baby, and he says, "Who's this?" And obviously, you didn't take that well. You just had the baby, and then so the kind of conversation ends. So how does it? What's your communication like over the next couple of months? Like, surely does he come to see the baby?
No,
he doesn't come to see the baby.
No. It was random. He just literally just called me and was like, "Oh, how are you? Are you okay?" Not even, you know, how's the baby? How are you? Are you okay? I was like, "I'm fine." Like,
and are you not calling him either?
No.
So you literally have mentally made the decision that I'm having this baby. I'm looking after this baby on my own.
No. So at the start, when it was coming up to him being about 3 months, up until that point, I was consistent. So I sat down and I called him, whatever. So when he called me the first time, I hadn't called him because he sent me the message and was like, "Who's this?" when I sent him the picture. So I was like, "I'm not entertaining this." So then he called me and was like, "Are you guys okay? Like, are you okay? Not even you guys." So then that's from that moment, that's when it became consistent.
Okay.
And Kanan was, when he had called me, he was probably about not even a month old.
Okay.
So he was quite young.
Okay. But he's calling with the intention of coming over, or is he just calling for a little brief chat? Is he like, I don't know, what
brief chat?
What did he kind of explain what his role was going to be, like, you know? Because I'm just trying to put myself in the mind of a new dad, and it would be like, I don't know, would I ask, like, do you need anything? Can I come over? Was those conversations being had? I was
having those conversations with him.
Okay, so, and what was he saying then when you're asking him?
So when I asked him if he was going to come around to come and see his son, he's like, "I'm busy." So I'm like, "You're busy doing what?"
And busy when? Like, you never said, did you say a day?
Yeah, you know that.
Busy when?
Busy when, exactly.
Forever?
Exactly.
Okay.
So he's just like, "Oh, I'm busy, I'm working." So I'm like, what, are you working like Monday to Sunday? Like, have you got, he's like, oh, it's matchy matchy. So he could have like a Tuesday off one week and a Saturday off another week. Well, find out when you're off, the day that you're off, and come and see your child.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'll let you know. Like, I've got a lot going on, family, this. Like, it was just always just excuses upon excuses.
And how do you deal with that? Like, as a new mum, who obviously, you know, as I know from being a mum myself, that you're going to be totally in love with this new baby. You know, you're going to be adoring on this new baby and thinking, I need to give the world to this baby. That's how you're going to be feeling. Yeah. How do you then deal with someone who you're asking to come round to see the baby, but he's giving you excuses? Like,
I was quite calm. I was very calm. I think as time progressed, and Kanan got to probably about 6 months, it was a roller coaster of emotions. So I was angry at one point. I was crying down the phone another, not phased another. Like, what do you want? Why are you calling my phone? Yeah,
like, yeah.
Like,
as time goes on. Yeah. So you mentioned the 6 month mark there. Had he seen the baby then in those 6 months at all?
No.
He'd not seen his newborn son at all in 6 months. So
just before we skip, so when he was 3 months and I was moving from that shared accommodation over to my place, he'd called me and I said, look, you know, like, I'm not asking you for money. All I'm saying is, if you know a man with a van, in order to get all my stuff from this one room over to my place, he was like, no, I don't. He didn't even inquire. I was like, okay, fine. This is how much it is. It's £78 for me to get all my stuff over. Can we go halves? Yeah. You know, bearing in mind, you ain't paid for nothing for our child. You ain't paid for nothing. So he's like, oh, I haven't got the money. But you're working Monday to Sunday, how it looks to me.
Yeah, because you're busy.
Because you're busy.
Yeah.
And every time I'm working.
Okay. But and like you said, he's not paid anything yet for the baby. He's not asked anything about nappies or milk.
Till this day.
And you ask him...
Not a Chris, not a Quavers.
And you ask him for this and he says no.
Yeah.
He says no, he can't help.
He says, no, I can't help. So I took the 78. I had the money.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're also...
Yeah.
That,
you're asking,
so if you can help me to help our child, that would be great. And that. So, so I just ended up paying the £78 over to mine. Anyways, Caden's 3-4 months by the time I go over to my place. He's going on 6 months. I've had enough now. You're calling my phone like once, twice every week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks. To the point that when he's calling my phone, I'm like, do I need a pen pal? Like, why are you calling my phone?
It's a bit weird. Like, why is he calling?
Yeah. And in 6 months, now you're pissing me off. Now I'm not sad. Now I'm not, you know, asking you a million times nicely. Now you're pissing me off. Yeah. And then after being pissed off, it's just like I'm giving up now. Like, it was getting to a point where I was just giving up. So when Kaylin was 6 months, I remember speaking to like friends and family about it and everything. And I was speaking to my uncle in particular, and he sat down and said, listen, if he don't want to be there for the child physically, go make him feel it financially and that. Yeah? Like, make him be there one way or another. So obviously I'm young, I don't really know too much about the whole CSA thing and but I was like, yeah, you're right, you know, I'm gonna go do that. So I did. I put him on CSA, but I communicate. I'm a communicator. I don't do anything maliciously or anything like that. So I called him. I made the inquiry through CSA, and I think I had to pay like a £20 fee or something like that. I can't remember. And I told him, I was like, look, just to let you know, so that you're not, you know, shocked,
surprised,
surprised, you're gonna get some CSA letters through your door.
And how easy is it to go through the CSA route? Like, what information did you need to know? Like, his full name, his address, his job. Do you need to know that kind of stuff?
So it was crazy because obviously, like I said, we didn't get much time to really know each other. So, you know, I knew his name, his first and last name. I didn't know his address.
Yeah, I mean, who? Yeah.
But here's where it's all funny. Obviously, CSA, they have their records.
Yeah, because I was going to say, what did they need from you? Was they like, listen, just give us a name?
Yeah, so
I can roll with this.
Yeah,
like investigators.
That was basically what it was. Like, I just literally said to him, look, this is his name. I know that he lives in Wood Green. I know that he's got 4 kids. I don't know his date of birth. I know that he's 28.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
They were able to run through their records with the information that I gave because his 4 other kids are on CSA.
Oh, right. So he was already on their records.
Yeah.
So they didn't even need to do no investigating, proper, they already had him.
They already had him.
Wow. Okay.
That showed me a different light. I was like, yeah. Okay. I'm definitely going to be going through this.
And how did he react? Because you said you wanted to be open and honest with him. How did he react when you told him I've gone to the CSA? He didn't believe you?
Yeah, he's just like, you're trying to shut. But I'm like, you got 4 other kids on CSA. How could you think I'm trying to shut? You should be expecting it by now. But no, so he was just like, oh, look, you're trying to shut. And then I was just like, okay, well, I've told you, done my part. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And when he obviously did get contacted at some point, did he contact you about that?
No, he told CSA he didn't believe Kaylin was his.
Oh really? Is that what he did? So did you have to have a DNA test?
CSA sat down and told him he's got 14 days to pay for a DNA test.
Oh right, so he can have one, but he's got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
If he doesn't pay for the DNA test within 14 days, then they're going to assume parentage on him. So I was like, okay, cool, make him take the DNA test. Anyways,
had he ever asked about a DNA test before, from the day when
he's never denied him. Never.
Oh right, okay.
Ever.
So he only brought it up at that stage.
Yeah.
Okay. And did he do a DNA test?
No.
Do you know how much it was?
It was 150.
£150.
He
probably
called
didn't want to spend the money.
On the 13th day, and he said, "Look, I haven't got the funds to pay for the DNA. Can you help?" I was like, no.
Can you help? So he wanted you to pay for it?
I said no.
Okay.
Would you? Am I denying
I was going to say, yeah, if it was that important to him, if he 100%. Really had doubt or surely there are family members or friends
that's exactly
that you could have asked, especially if he really did think this is not my baby.
Ask your dad for 50.
Yeah.
And ask your sister
if you think there's a chance that that's not your baby and you need to be clear, I'm sure relatives are going to help you and be like, cool, we'll pay for this test because...
But you went to dig out of my pocket when I've already had to dig out of my pocket for my child already.
And obviously you're happy with who the baby daddy is that you know.
Good.
Okay, so because he didn't do a test, the CSA they just say that he's the parent then. Yeah, and then they have to.
13th day came. I refused to help him. The 14th day they assumed parentage. My thing is you knew it was your child, because me personally, I wouldn't want to be paying for no child for the next 18 years of their life if I could just pay a quick £150.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If there's a chance, if he really thought that's not mine, you would have scraped that money, because you could have been free, you could have been out. That's it. That don't make no sense to me. And then so with the CSA, do you just get the money direct? Do they take money direct from him? Or does he have to pay the money, make a payment? How does it work?
So how it works at the start was that he had to send me the money.
He had to send you the money. Did he do that though?
Yeah.
Oh, he was doing that.
So he slowed down the process of it all. He's been through this 4 times, so he knows how it goes. Yeah. But he slowed down the process of it all. So the 14-day period obviously came. They assumed parentage. Then they had to calculate everything, take into consideration he had 4 other kids, plus another child that's not on CSA, but they have arranged payments. Okay. So they had to take all of that into consideration. So I think he was meant to be sending me £35 a month.
£35 a month. Okay, and how do you... Sorry, I have to laugh because obviously we know how much kids cost.
Of course. 100%.
So, I mean, how did you feel about the figure of £35?
Do you know what? It wasn't about the amount for me. Mm-hmm. For me, it was the principle. Yeah. Exactly what my uncle had said. You don't want to be there physically. You're going to feel it financially. Mm-hmm. Because...
And anything's better than nothing, I suppose. Because you've been coping without it. And even if you have, like you said, even if you have money, you don't need that money. Yeah. That could still be money. That is money for your son. That could be put in saving. It could be whatever. That is your son's money at the end of the day.
Yeah, so he started sending the £35 the first month. So hear this now. The first day that payment came into my account, he came to my house the next day.
He's on that. What did Dad's call that? Pay and see. Pay to view. That kind of thing. All right, so he's paid now. So now he wants to see. The baby wants to see what he's paid for.
It came into my account that night. The next
He's there at the door. He wants to, because he wants to see what he's paid for. What am I paying for? What have I got?
So when he comes to my house now and he walks inside my door,
and first of all, you let him in then, like
no, because I'm fair. Like I have obviously gone through my roller coaster of emotions, but how I feel is how I feel. The way that I feel is you need to be there for your child, and that's it. So I don't care how you're feeling towards me or how I'm feeling towards you. I'm gonna have to be the mutual one.
Well, you are, but and I just don't think that sometimes mums get enough ratings for the fact that that's how you act, because from what you've just told us already, he's made it extremely difficult. He's not been interested in any way. You've asked and he's not come. Your baby is now, do you know what I mean, over 6 months old. And now because he's ready and he turns up at your door, you're like, I guess everyone would literally expect you to be the bigger person and let him in. And I cooked
and everything. I did oxtail and rice. I sat down and said to him, look, you can sit down, have a meal, whatever.
A meal? I would have said, sit on the sofa, you have 30 minutes and you've got to go. No, like, I'm just saying, like, we've always got to be nice and you know, and let me ask you this. Why was it important for you for him to see his son and for you to make it easy enough? Like, why was that important to you?
A lot of reasons. I didn't have my dad in my life, and I didn't have my dad in my life by choice. Not by choice, sorry. So my dad had passed when I was 2. Okay. So for me, you know, I wasn't even at a point where I knew what dad was. You know, I didn't want that for my child. You know, especially with me growing up. You know, like I was adopted. I didn't have my mother in my life, but I always had a mum figure in my life. You know, so I was privileged to have had that. But
and would you say your childhood was obviously you've been adopted. In that adopted situation, would you say your childhood was a normal childhood? Would you say it's been quite difficult?
It was a normal childhood because I knew no different. I was 2, so my family brought me up the best they could. You know, it's only when I started getting older and she gets as a teenager, you know what it's like. You start clocking onto things, you know, because I always knew my dad had passed, but I didn't really know that I was adopted.
Okay.
Because my family was still my family.
Okay, so you're still adopted in your family?
Yeah, on my dad's side.
Okay.
But, you know, like, I knew there was always something different. Like, you know, all my family, they're Dominican, they're dark skinned. Like, I was like, oh, like, I feel a bit different. And I knew I had sisters and they were the same colour as me. Their mums were white. And, you know, so you start kind of clocking onto things.
And what age did you find out you was adopted then?
I think I was probably about 13.
About 13?
12, 13, yeah.
And did that change anything in you, or was you okay with it?
It did. It was mixed emotions. I didn't know whether to, you know, hate my family or, you know, it's only as I'm older as I am now where it's like I appreciate everything, you know, but at that time you're young, you're just like, you know, what's going on? So for me, I rebelled. Like, I was naughty. I caused my mum. She's my mum. I caused her headache. You know, I went missing for a year.
I was gonna say, because you did obviously touch on that briefly earlier on, that you went missing, you run away and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of mentioned. So I guess in your teenage years, would you say that was less maybe normal and that was a bit difficult, bit challenging?
Yeah, I think it was just trying to find myself. I think it was just so many unanswered questions for me, you know, and my family, you know, they are how they are. So they're just like, you know, like, why are you being so selfish? You know, like, you being brought up in a family that loves you. You've never had to go without. You've never been hungry. You know, you've never not had no roof over your head or needed for nothing, you know. So why are you being like that? You know, but to me, it was my identity. You know, it was being able to set my eyes upon the 2 people that had created me and not being able to do that. You know, so I think, and just understanding where I came from.
Have you met your birth mum?
No, I found out that my birth mum died in 2012. I found that out, I think, in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't remember your dad as well because he died when you were young, and you haven't met your birth mum. So, I mean, it's understandable that you you had a difficult time in your teenage years and had these feelings
and
had these thoughts.
Even though that me and my baby dad weren't in a relationship, you know, he knew this. You know, he knew that, you know, when I was crying down the phone, calling him, sitting there saying, when are you going to come and see your kid? In the same breath, I'm sitting there saying, I didn't have my daddy. You know, like, why are you trying to do the same thing to my child? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that's not fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can't...
But he was privileged. He had his mum and dad there. They had split up. They both live in the same area in different houses, but he grew up with both his parents. They were still there. Yeah. You know, that's why he can have kid left, right and centre and feel like you don't have to...
Well, I mean, you know, we touched on that on the last episode about men having multiple children and in multiple places, and how good of a, you know, maybe a father you can be if you do have multiple kids. Like, you know, how effective can you be to manage?
How are you gonna have the time?
Yeah, the time and the money. Like you said, even when the CSA was calculating the money, they've got to calculate that you do have to pay for other children, and you know, you have to pay for yourself, your bills and all that. Like, money only spreads so far unless you're, do you know what I mean, making good amounts of it. So we did touch on that last week, but I think we can't really, we can't really ignore your childhood and your upbringing and the fact that you were adopted, and that would cause you to think certain things and about yourself and stuff like that. We can't ignore that may have an impact on you as a parent, and like you said, on what you think for you want for your child.
I don't even think it's just about my upbringing. I think it's in general. Like, I sit down and I think further than that. Like, even with my upbringing, although it's always at the back of my mind, you know, like, I was privileged, you know, so for me it wasn't just about that. It was everything. It was the fact of the generation in which I live in, the fact that I've been brought up in Camberwell, Peckham my whole life. You know, like, I've got a 2-year-old child. I'm going to be bringing up my child in these areas of what's going on. Kids are getting younger. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of these kids, they have daddy issues. Their dad's not around. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, why am I going to bring up my kids?
So that was really important to you from the beginning.
Of course, 100%.
No matter who the dad is and what he can bring, he just needs to be there.
He needs to be there. Yeah.
He needs to be present. So how does that first visit go when you make him a meal? You know, he gets fed and he gets to see his son. Did you see a connection there?
It was about me. It wasn't about the kid.
It was about you.
It was about me. So, you know, like, when he walked into the door, I was expecting him to go pick up his child, and, you know, there was none of that. My child, at that point, he was 6 months, so he wasn't walking, he was crawling and whatever, tummy time, whatever. And he sat down on the couch. I was sitting down here, and my child's in the front. He's sitting where you're sitting, I'm sitting where I'm sitting, and my child's there. Nothing. He's sitting down talking to me, you know? So, but I sat down and I said, do you know what? It's a step. You know, it's a step. I can't expect so much. It's a step. So I sat down and I came to an ultimatum with him. So I sat down and I said to him, I was like, look, I put you on CSA because you didn't want to come and see your child. I said, I shouldn't have had to have done that. I had to go through all of that for you just to come here. I said, this is why I did it. I sat down and said to him, Kaylin's 6 months. You've got up until he's a year old to show me some consistency. If you show me the consistency, I'll take you off CSA.
Okay.
You don't show me the consistency, or you think you're going to show me consistency and then stop, I just put you straight back on it. I said, because I've got the power like that. And he was like, I believe he really understood. He seemed like he liked this idea. He was like, off CSA, okay.
Yeah, because what did he come there to say? Like, did he come to say, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna...
Yes.
Like,
it was...
Did he come with a speech, you know, with a, I'm gonna be different, things are gonna be better?
No. It wasn't a speech, it was just me more talking and him agreeing.
Did you try and put it on you?
The second time he came round, yeah.
Just have to ask.
Yeah, the second time.
If that was, because you said it was all about you, was that his purpose? The
second time he came round, he did, I think Kaylin was walking now. Just started walking. Kaylin started walking at probably about 10 months, he was an early walker.
So was he leaving it months in between?
Yeah. So from that period, never come back. He was always calling me as a pen pal. I had a pen pal for a time. Still have him. Still have a pen pal.
I just don't know. Yeah, like I don't know. It's difficult to what do you do in those situations, because I think people would be quick to slate a woman if you decided not to take his calls no more. Yeah. If you thought, I don't want to answer this phone. I have
tried that.
Do you know what I mean?
He doesn't even try to communicate with me. So I'm like, I can't do this because you just don't care. But I'm going to make you care.
Okay.
You know, because when I am in contact with that, it got to a point that it was so bad. So obviously after the time that he came and saw Kaden when he was 6 months, and I thought we had an understanding of the consistency and whatever, he'd gone. Then, you know, for a couple of weeks, whatever month, he was calling my phone every now and then, asking if we're okay, and then in regards to CSA, the money just started going from 35 to 20 to 18, to nothing. And I just sat down and I said, you know what, I'm not putting up with this, you know. So I contacted CSA, let them know he's not paying what he's supposed to be paying. On top of that, he's not come back to come and see our child, you know. So like I'm not standing for it. So they changed it to direct collect and pay. Collect and pay.
What does that mean?
So they collect it from his employer.
Yeah, okay, so that's because that's what I've heard how CSA works. So it's going to come straight out of his salary.
Straight out of his, he don't
so before like tax, before he gets his money, that bit's already going to be gone. Yeah. And it's going to go, and then they're going to give it directly to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you start getting the money then? Like, he's working because
I've got a message on my phone to say my payment's about to come in tomorrow.
Right. So he holds down a job.
Yeah.
That's the most positive thing we've heard about this man, that he does hold down a job. Yeah. So you're getting the money. What conversations are you having with him now? Like, are you asking him like why he's not coming? Like,
yeah, I am.
Because what is he saying?
He's just like, his response is everything's about money. Now that I've got CSA involved, he's like, everything's about, I'm like, stop going on about everything's about money, because CSA is taking the money out. I'm not asking you for money. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So not everything's about money. At the start, you don't want to take into consideration that I've cried tears. I've gotten angry. You know, I've gotten to a point I don't even care no more. You know, because I want you to come and see your child, but all you want to pick up on is when Kaylin was 6 months and I sat down and put you on CSA.
CSA, yeah.
That's all you want to look at.
And did you do you know any of his family at this point?
Right.
Do you know anyone?
I've met. Now this is where it gets political, because I met his mum and dad obviously before having Kaylin.
Oh, so was that when you was pregnant or you wasn't pregnant?
No, I wasn't pregnant.
Oh, so just in the early stages of you guys dating, you did meet his parents?
I did meet his parents.
Okay.
Both of them. They're both lovely.
Okay.
Yeah, so now when he come and see Kaylin the second time, because I had to force it upon him, and this is just before it became a collect and pay with CSA. Again, that second time it was just about me. He didn't even focus on Kaylin really, but he picked up on the fact that Kaylin's naughty. My child is very, very naughty.
He's a baby.
Naughty. Yeah, he's a baby. He's 2 as well, so he's going through his terrible twos and whatever. But he started that from young. But yeah, so you know, but there's so much that had happened. So right, so when. So after he's come to see him the second time, because there's nothing significant about that second time, just happened. Now he hasn't seen Kaylin for months again, and I'm getting annoyed now because Kaylin's now 2. So I'm sitting down, I'm like, I'm not putting up with this, I'm not standing for this, I'm gonna go to the mum and dad. And you know, I've been asking him about what his mum and dad thinks.
Yeah,
he's like, they don't care.
Okay, so yeah, because I mean, I'm just thinking that, do they know?
Yeah.
He's had, obviously he's already got pure kids, but do they know obviously specifically about your child? But
see, this is what I was thinking. I could only go on what he was telling me.
Okay.
I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
So I remember one day he was on FaceTime. We was FaceTiming each other now, obviously going through rollercoaster of emotions, angry, and his dad was in the background, and his dad came, I saw him in the video call, he's like, oh, you're right, Chelsea, he's like, when are you going to come and see the baby? And when are you going to come and bring the baby?
That's what the dad said?
Yeah, and I'm looking at my baby dad's face, looking up at the dad like that, like, Dad, why are you talking? Like, just go. Like, just go. And I said to him straight up, I said, oh, is that right? I said, well, you know, he told me he didn't want nothing to do with the baby. He's like, I never said that. He said, he don't tell me anything that's going on. Every time I ask him, he don't tell me nothing. You know, so I was like, oh, so now I know. Now I know they do want a relationship with Kaylin, but you...
So did anything come out of that?
No, because every time I kept asking him to give me the dad's number and the mum's number, it was no.
No.
You know, like he had power. So I said, you ain't got no power. I said, you ain't got no power. God has power. You don't have power.
I honestly don't know what you do in that situation, but I applaud you for continuing to try, because I am literally thinking, just give up, just let it go.
Everybody says that, but it's like, give up.
It's you're talking about a child, and you're talking about your child, and you're talking about his future and what you want for him, and the importance of a father in his life. So it's not as easy as just saying, you know, give up. It's not like, do you know what I mean? It's not just a little school argument or something. So, but yeah, it's a very difficult situation that you're in. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. We need to start making these shows longer. But thank you so much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure.
And sharing this story with everyone. Guys, we've got to go. Thanks for joining this week's episode of The Baby Mothers. It was a really interesting story, and I wish Chelsea all the best, and her little son, and you know, who knows what will happen in the future. Don't forget to like, subscribe. See you next time.